All right, we're live. It's Bourbon Blogs live tasting with my good friend Wes Henderson. We're going to try for the very first time, seen by eyes, the new Angel's Envy Madeira Cask finish here in a few minutes. How's it going tonight, Wes?
Doing great. Good to see you, Tom. Boy, you got the. How'd you manage to get that? You got a Madeira finish there, huh?
I did. I'm going to show. Well, we talk about this term called unboxing, right? When people they unbox technology. We usually uncork whiskey, but I want to show you this box. This is like this beautiful purple color that you all kind of landed on for the branding for this one, right? This is like this wonderful royal. How did you come up with the color? First of all, I'm going to unbox it as you tell us.
You know, our brand team, came up with several different options, and quite frankly, that's a challenge as we do our special releases and our cellar collection and everything like that is branding them uniquely, and it's a color that we all fell in love with, and it's I've never seen it like unboxed like you're doing it, so it's pretty cool to see it for the first time like that.
We're unboxing. I love this. I'm so happy to have. Of course, got a little Angel's Envy behind me there. Always love the original and the rye. And look at this box, y'all. We're going to be diving into this in just a moment. So make sure you like this, share it, retweet it, do all those things. Tell all of your friends, because this is one of those whiskeys that this is limited, right? This is only here for like a short time, right?
It is. It's the public sales coming up here, in a few days. But it'll go immediately. Yeah, we had to do a lottery for the first batch that we released. We offered the first batch to our 500 main group, which is a kind of a group that we have. You can join on our website, 500 Main, and public sales coming up. So we're just excited about it. It's always crazy when we do these releases. We have so many people wanting to get it. It's hard for us to figure out a way to do it that's fair for everybody. It's with the Mizunara finish, it crashed the website. So
crashed your website with the Mizunara finish?
Yeah, I did. I was really angry about that we crashed the website. Then I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's really cool. We crashed the website. But it really wasn't cool, because we had a lot of people that were trying to get it, and it was kind of a cluster. But I think we got better this time, and we're just doing the best we can every day, Tom, trying to make good whiskey, trying to get it in the hands of friends and fans of Angel's Envy, and
Yes.
We love it.
Well, when things get that crazy, when whiskey breaks the internet, I mean, you've done something right. Obviously, we've always loved what you've done, and I just feel so blessed and lucky to have known you all these years, to have tasted your bourbon, your rye with you for the first time. All your interesting sherry finishes, the Mizunara. How do you decide what's going to be next? I mean, what allowed you to really say, hey, let's do something different? Do you try some that never see the market? Do you just know Madeira will work? How do you plan it out?
We haven't really, so far we haven't put anything in development that we felt like wasn't something that we want to release. I mean, it could always happen. And we have had some barrels, that maybe just the particular barrels were not good for whatever reason, but the concept for that particular finish that I'm talking about is still very valid. And we decide when it's ready. And when it's ready, I mean, we do have a little bit of method to the madness about when we want to release things, but we move stuff around. Something may leapfrog another one because it's ready sooner than what we anticipated. So we always have to have a little bit of flexibility there. But that's the nice thing about being a small company, is that we're very nimble like that. We can kind of turn on a dime if we need to.
Yes. And again, if you're just joining us, I see a bunch of people just joining us on Twitter. It's him, my friend and yours, Wes Henderson, co-founder Angel's Envy. He does so much there. We've always really appreciated what he's done, and we're about to taste this amazing Madeira. Now, I know what Madeira is. I actually, as I told you, I hadn't had any for a while, but I got a little bottle of it this morning. So I I want to taste some Mizunara, not Mizunara, some Madeira early in the day. Think about, what am I going to be looking for in your Madeira cask finish? What is Madeira, and what inspired you to pick Madeira?
Well, Madeira is another fortified wine, very similar fortified wines, port, sherries, and so on and so forth. They're typically dessert wines, and we really fell in love with the fortified wines early on, and that's something that my father was always excited about. And we've seen it in other releases. We've seen it in the single malts, and especially port as a good example. But it's just something we wanted to do for a long time. What really got us to the point to where we were going to do it, we took a family trip to Europe, and we went to Madeira, and we spent some time with a couple Madeira producers that one day we may partner with. The Madeira that we're using here it's kind of non-denominational right now, but we had a great trip to Madeira. It was a beautiful, beautiful island. We had been to Portugal first, and then we went to Madeira. Now the trip with 6 kids was hell in a lot of ways, as you can imagine, just trying to herd cats the whole time we were overseas. But we survived, and we managed to do it as a family. But that just kind of brought home. And every time I think about that trip, it's really something that inspired us to go through the Madeira, because that trip was such a fun trip for the family.
Right. And so when you were there, you thought, hey, let's try. We haven't done this one. Let's try this one out. Exactly.
And we have so many things that work out that way. Ideas we come up for no reason other than something we ran into. One comes to mind right now that's in development, that my son Andrew, a particular barrel that he fell in love, or a particular type of wine that he fell in love with, and he sought out the barrels and sought out the producer, and it just happened like that. And the boys are constantly bringing ideas. I'm bringing ideas, and whatever, we do a lot. It's interesting, Tom, you've known us for a long time. A lot of our development will take place at the kitchen table or on the kitchen countertop on a Sunday when the kids are over for dinner. A lot of first ideas start right there.
Just start brainstorming. It's why not? Let's try the Madeira. Let's try Mizunara.
Right, and then we'll do stuff at the kitchen counter. I mean, the boys will bring over a bottle of a unique spirit or something that they think is fun, and and the same thing with Angel's Envy. The first blends of Angel's Envy I did were in my kitchen. We've got a I would say a multi-million-dollar lab, but we've got a pretty extensive lab and R&D.
Bigger kitchen now.
Yeah, and just experimenting in the kitchen is where probably 99% of our innovation has started.
Well, if you have a question for Wes Henderson or myself, ask away, tweet back, ask down below, tell us down below what your favorite Angel's Envy is, maybe even your favorite Angel's Envy cocktail. I know you guys, we've been to the distillery before. Even years ago, I was judging an Angel's Envy cocktail competition. This whiskey, even your bourbon, is just so beautiful by itself, but can work so beautifully in cocktails too, right? It's that next level.
I think so. It's kind of I've always said it's kind of the best of all three worlds.
Right.
It's because it's so accessible, so approachable. It's a great bourbon for people who are new to the category. It's also because of the complexities that we have. It's great for people that are bourbon aficionados, and it's also it does well in a cocktail. Lots of versatility in the flavor with all the different finishes, with the bourbon and the rye, for sure. A rye old fashioned is one of my favorite. Angel's Envy rye old fashioned is one of my favorite drinks.
Already has that little something in there. It already has that layer. Okay, so now I was asking before we went on. This has really seen the Madeira cask for a while, like quite a long time. This is a 6-year-old bourbon.
That's right.
About a 6-year-old bourbon that has been finishing. This is again the secondary cask for 2 years. Hardly anybody ever does a 2-year finish for anything. That's insane. What inspired that? That's a lot of finish.
Well, a lot of people would say, and I would agree, it's not just a finish; it's an additional maturation in that secondary barrel. Tom, like the sherry finish, we forgot about it for 2 years.
Right.
That's the reason it was finishing for so long, and it took another couple years. We kept it in totes because we felt it was ready to go, and I didn't want it to finish any longer, mature any longer. So it's just whenever we think it's in, we're checking it. We check it all along the way, and when we think it's ready, and or if it's going to take on a deeper depth and character, the longer it spends in that secondary barrel, then we'll let it sit there. We're not on a time clock here. We're not.
Okay, I'm just curious on that sherry finish. You forgot about it. What reminded you? Was there something that was like, oh, sherry? Did you hear like Steve Perry on the radio? What reminded you?
No, I honestly don't remember what made me think about it. And I just remember clearly though, one day I mentioned something to, I don't know whether it was Kyle or Andrew. I think it was Andrew. Hey, go pull a sample of that sherry finish. Yeah. It just popped into my head. So they went and pulled. Well, yeah, right. So they went and pulled a sample. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is one of the best things we've ever done. And, one of the problems, it was a very limited release. One of the reasons it was really limited was I loved it so much. I was giving samples out to everybody on the planet, and they ended up locking it up and hiding it from me. So I couldn't, and they do the same thing now with all the other things, and the Madeira was the same way. They hide it from me so I can't sneak people in to try it, till it's time.
That's what. Okay. So again, the sherry was 2.5 years about.
It was, right around 2 years, I think.
Well, and this one's about 2 years. Again, when you look at your original, it's your bourbon is about 6 months in the port barrels.
4 to 6 years in the new charred oak barrel, and then up to 6 months. So when we do a blend, we'll have bourbon that's finished for 6 months. We'll have bourbon that's finished for 6 weeks, maybe 6 days, whatever. It's whatever it takes to complete that consistent blend every time.
So many good people watching. I appreciate, and I got to throw a shout out because I got some other Angels Envy here from our friends at High Spirits locally today. Going to have some rye with you as well. Mm-hmm. I got it's that side is the bourbon. I see Joe watching. Joe Van Nam, thanks for watching. He was asking how long the finish was. Thank you, Joe, my good friend. Also, Mark Patton, thanks for watching. He's over in Japan. So many people that are big fans. Irene, thank you for watching. She loves the cask strength. Okay, so this one goes on sale here in what, a couple days?
It goes on sale wait a minute here. Let me pull up my calendar. Isn't this crazy? I should know this. The 6th.
It's all right.
So it's Sunday. Time flies.
And again, it's, you open it up to how do you become a 500 Main? Do you just sign up to become a member of that?
Yeah, you just sign up. You go to our website and go to 500 Main. You can navigate there, and it'll tell you how to join. And the wonderful thing about 500 Main, you get advance notices of special releases. And in this case, we did the lottery, so everyone 500 Main member got the first shot, and then the public sale starts Sunday. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I'm down in Florida right now. But I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. I know the boys will be there to sign bottles as well. Oh, there you go, 500. Tom, you are just on.
That's how you join 500 Main. Yeah, you got to join there. Make sure you hear about it first. Of course, if you subscribe to our newsletter on Bourbon Blog, we'll always tell you about all the great things Angels Envy is doing too. And but we want to make sure they get on there and they become a 500 Main member, because you give them first crack at that. Now, how many bottles of this are they all spoken for? What's the story?
Yeah, it's a limited release at the distillery. I think it's like 3,400 bottles, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's almost what you call a micro release. We are going in a few states outside of Kentucky. It's a list of like 4 or 5 states. So it's one of those things that'll be difficult to find, but you can come to the distillery Sunday and snag one. We'll have plenty on sale there.
Okay, so this Sunday you can come to the distillery and get a bottle.
That's right.
You think people will be lined up like overnight, like it's Black Friday, or what?
That's what happened with the Madeira release. I don't know. I hope everyone wants it. Then I hope everybody that wants it can get one. I'm really blown away and humbled and excited to see the interest in what we do. It's just like for me, who's not wanted with short on words ever. It's really hard to describe, Tom. We come to work every day to try to produce the best product we can produce and try to do it and we have an incredible team. I think we do some great things, not just in the bourbon world. We do things outside of the company, and the only reason we're able to do those things is because of the people that support us. So I'm just grateful that there's interest, in what we're doing.
Oh, it's exciting. I mean, to think that you were really one of the first, if not the first, to make a big difference in the bourbon industry on finishing port wine barrels, something that really we had only seen in Scotland, and then it caught on. I mean, the waves you've made, would you have ever imagined 10 years later you'd be seeing this kind of excitement?
No, I never would have. And I think about this a lot, and occasionally I get the opportunity to talk about it. We just wanted to be different. We wanted to you have to be unique. When we started this company, you're already a crowded field. It's even more crowded now. And we needed to be unique. We needed to find a way to be expressive and the secondary barrel finish. But I think when you set out to do something, when you're the first to do something that catches on, I don't necessarily think that you're thinking, I want to be the first to start this trend. I think you just, you do what you do and hope it's well received. And then maybe it's something that's received in a way that other people will try to do the same. And there's tons of product out there now that's finished, and I try as much of it as I can, I'm just glad we were kind of the first on board to be successful with it.
And you keep on innovating. I'm sure you have more and more. All of us Angels Envy fans only wish we knew what your other experiments were, but you have other experiments right now that you've laid down.
Yeah, we got 25 or 20 something odd innovations. I used to talk about them a lot, but I'm under a gag order now from our marketing team. I try to keep some excitement out there and some of it I can't resist talking about. So, but I'm learning the self-discipline now to, because if I let the cat out of the bag, it's no fun for anybody else either. It's like Christmas morning, if you find the presents under your parents' bed, not that there isn't a Santa Claus or anything like that, but if you did happen to do that, it kind of ruins Christmas morning, right?
I'm still trying to get Wes there underneath the tree, shaking the gifts, saying, "I think I know what this is, Wes. But what is that other barrel?" But we won't.
I was a shaker, and I would get so disappointed, and I was so big on. I never wanted to know what I was going to get Christmas morning, and as a matter of fact, there are a couple of times where I kind of figured out what I was getting ahead of time, and I was really distressed about it. So I would go out of the way not to know for sure what I was getting for Christmas because I was so excited about Christmas morning.
I think I accidentally guessed a couple gifts and got in trouble for that. It was completely a guess. So if I start guessing, like, I wonder what else they have laid down there in Angels Envy, it'll just be a guess. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to get in any trouble. I just want to try this one. We're going to try this.
Go ahead.
We're going to try the Madeira. I'm so excited to try this, Wes. This is the uncorking, the unboxing, the revealing of the Madeira this Sunday. What time is it going on sale? Is it what time will the doors open?
I don't know, but I'll find out.
At some point.
Isn't that crazy? Look, I do have an excuse. I do have an excuse for this lack of information. I am on vacation this week, and I have taken my brain and checked it out and put it in a box.
It's all right.
To where I refuse to think about anything other than enjoying the weather in Florida.
No, I'm so glad you can't. All we know is you probably should start camping out ahead of time if you're going to get one of those bottles or be part of 500 Main, because once that opens up, they'll be like trying to buy it real quick online, right?
It will be. It'll be one of those things where we'll have quite a few people out there.
Okay, I gave it a nice nose, Wes. Okay, again, I like Madeira. Mm-hmm. Do you drink much Madeira? You probably did when you were there.
No, I did when I was there. I love it. I just, it's not something I always think of ordering. I usually go to a sherry or a port first. but I do love it. And you know, when I see it on a menu, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't had that in a while, because of the flavor is so complex, and all that nuttiness, and it's just really deep and rich, and it's very complementary to our bourbon.
This is so good. Okay, so again, it's a lot of those Madeira notes. This is huge. I mean, every time I try something new that you've done, Wes, it's like you take it to that next level with more and more intensity. This has, because for me, Madeira is that it's a lot of like buttery brown sugar spice with the fruit against your bourbon. It's just, it comes together with, it just bursts with flavor. I mean, this is huge. This is a big finish because you really get the Madeira.
I appreciate that. And some finishes that we've done and experimented with, the finishes aren't as aggressive. I mean, our port finish bourbon is a prime example. You know, the finish is so much more subtle. So in some cases it works, and the rye is not subtle. So
right.
You know, and this Oloroso sherry finish was a compromise with me and my kids as we went back and forth. Same with the tawny. Some finishes are better more in the background, I think, and some are better more out front. I'm more of my personal liking is a finish that's more up front. I really want that finish to be something that there's no question that it's there. And the boys are a little more subtle. And my dad was more about subtlety. And, you know, we've had these discussions back and forth about where we want to go, you know, where are we going to end up?
But you like a little more of the intensity.
Right. Yeah. I tend to, you know, and I like sweeter things. I like, not that this is sweet, but I mean, there is an element of sweetness to it, but I like bolder like, look, when I eat food, I ladle the sauce on it. You know, it's always extra sauce or sauce on the side, or, you know, or, you know, or just extra flavor, you know, and that's just my personal liking. So it's natural for me to impart, you know, that on what we do. But there are some spirited discussions with the boys, and as they're involved also in these blends, and you know, these discussions where I'm over here and they're over here, and we usually end up meeting in the middle somewhere. I mean, I could pull the dad card that I'm in charge, you know, type of thing, and say this is what we're going to do. But
it's balance that helps, right? As you all are developing these, the balance
definitely, and you know, and you know, as the boys, I'm really proud of how they've grown in this business, and you know, their skills that they've developed. Their analytical skills, their sensory abilities, their creative process on what flavors work together, and their technical expertise, you know, running that distillery. You know, I looked at every one of them. You know, 4 of them work at the distillery now, or at the warehouse. I look at all of them when we do these for their input, and it's very valuable input. You know, they're not little kids anymore. You know, they know a ton, and we listen to them a lot. I'm sorry, Tom, I'm babbling. So
no, I appreciate it. No, I love it when you share these things, because it's so important for people to know the process of how you balance each other. Again, I think this one leans more towards the intensity of the rye, maybe not quite so much that vein, but it has more of that intensity. It has more of that bold, really serious, you know, a serious extraction. You know, I'm getting a nice like creme brulee. As I nose this, I get that spice in the creme brulee, little touch of hazelnut, which I think comes again from that Madeira. This is a very like old, of course, Madeira being old world, but there's a lot of European notes hitting those Kentucky notes that come together.
I agree, and those are all great points, and it's got to come together in a way that works. You know, you can have all these elements of flavor. You can truthfully have too much flavor.
Yeah.
In something, and when you have too much flavor, you get up, and I've described the rye like this also. You get this jumbled mess. If you're not careful, the rye didn't end up a jumbled mess, but if you're not careful, you can end up with a jumbled mess of just stuff that you can't pull anything out of. And the rye was a great example of having something that you were able to, you know, it danced back and forth. And the same with the Madeira finish. I think there's a lot there, but it's layered in a way that you can enjoy each layer without having this ball of stuff,
Right.
you know, that you can't discern what's going on there.
Oh yeah, you can pick it apart, Wes, and I can see it on some. You know, and I've had other Madeira. There's some out there, Madeira finishes, street finishes that have gone too far. Not yours, but some of those old world wine finishes have gone too far on whiskeys. But you know, everything. I think you said it so right. Is about balance. You all have balanced this so nicely.
It is possible to go too far, and you know, that's why you have to really watch it. You know, we were lucky with the sherry. You know, 2 years finishing and forgetting about it. We were lucky there because it just happened. But you know something, if we would have checked it, it might have been better with less time in that barrel. I mean, it turned out phenomenally well, but we don't know what it was like up to those 2 years. You know, it could have been better, it could have been worse, but we don't know. You know, now that you know we've got a few of these under our belt, we're a lot better at watching things and you know and pulling samples as we go along, and you know and there's a method to the madness now. It's still madness, but there's a little more method to the madness now than there used to be. Right.
And again, those of you just joining us, it's Wes Henderson. We're trying the Madeira finish. We're going to continue to do a lot of these Bourbon Blog live videos. All of our videos are up permanently, so like this video, subscribe to our channel. Make sure also you're on our podcast, because there it is right there, Anchor FM/Bourbon Blog. We'll be putting all these, like we always have with Wes, up on our podcast channel. As you think about, hey, and I know most of the people watching this, a large number of them are going to try to get one of these bottles. What else has happened? I mean, I know you guys, lots is going on always at Angel's Envy. Anything else as things are more back to normal? Anything else going on we might want to talk about?
You know, we're slowly getting the brand home back to you know, to pre-COVID conditions. We're doing tastings. The retail is open. You know, we're doing kind of mini tour experiences. We aren't going back into the plant right now, but we're working towards that. If you come to the distillery, you'll see we're doing an expansion. We're under construction again. The brand home is growing, which is really exciting. Our Henry County property, which is about 45 minutes from the distillery, we're continuing to build warehouses. We've got 3 warehouses out there now, and we've got plans for a bunch more, and potentially another, maybe even another still out there. So, you know, we're just plugging along. We launched in Rome, Paris, and Berlin in the last couple of weeks, which is really thrilling for me, and which has us in Western Europe, several countries in Western Europe now. We already launched the UK. We're in Australia. We're in Singapore, which is one of the best cocktail markets in the world. Cool. So we're just, as I said before, we're just plugging along, you know, and that we're fortunate that people care enough about what we do, and it allows us to, you know, export some love, some bourbon love to other parts of the world.
Yes. Rome, Paris, and Berlin. Of course, I have no doubt they're loving your whiskeys now. Are they saying anything about them or doing anything with them in any of those markets that you might want to mention, or that you never had seen before? Or
No, not yet. It's too early. I mean, those are all great cocktail markets, and yeah, you know, the things that we have whiskey guardians in those markets as well as we do in the markets around the United States. Phenomenal. The best bartenders on the planet work with us as whiskey guardians. So I've already seen some cocktails. We did a thing for the media today, a Western European media, and our whiskey guardian from Paris was creating some cocktails, as well as our guy in Berlin. So everybody's got a unique take on it, and I'm really excited to see, though, as I travel to these other countries, to see how Angel's Envy is used, and you know, the different things that they come up with. That's always a lot of fun to experience that.
Excellent. No, it's so exciting to know that all those markets are equally blessed, getting to try some of the best bourbon out there, some of the best rye, really tasting something so special that has that European influence. It has those elements of old world, and you know, just tasting even the bourbon today. As I was thinking, you know, what am I going to be looking for on this Madeira tonight? So much of what you do too, the flavor but also the way those barrels have influenced the mouth. Such a big thing on your whiskeys. Talk about that a little bit.
It really is, especially with the fortified wines. You know, you've got the microscopic particles of grape left in those, in the fortified wines, and that gives it that mouthfeel, that viscosity, and it coats your palate. It also softens the alcohol a little bit. I think that the higher alcohols it doesn't lower the alcohol, and it's a whole interesting discussion about alcohol, the content of alcohol, and our perception of the content of alcohol. So I mentioned the rye a bunch of times tonight, but it's another example at 100 proof. It definitely doesn't drink like it's 100 proof. And same with our bourbons, the Madeira, all the other finishes we've done. The port
much lower.
It's 86. Our flagship's 86.6, and so it's much softer because of that finish.
Yes. And that's part of what you're looking at too with the barrels like Madeira when you're tasting these, because as many distillers have told me, if you even go a few days beyond what you should, it can become a whole different animal.
It can. I think I think there's a geographic component there as well. It's and where you're finishing. Where are you finishing in a warehouse? Are you finishing or in a rick house? Are you finishing in a warehouse? Is it palletized? Is it rigged? What part of the country are you in? What level is it in the warehouse? I think our finishing process is a day or a week doesn't make as much difference with us because we're a little slower in how we go about it. But I agree with what you said, and I agree with some of the other distillers that depending on the conditions, a few weeks can make a difference in what you end up with. That's why it's so important to keep tasting it as you go along. And, but it's still your judgment, just because I make a decision that I think that something's ready, doesn't necessarily, my judgment isn't any better than anybody else's that's out there drinking it. It's my perception of what I think is a good expression of Angel's Envy, right, and what I think people will like and what I like. But everybody has different tastes, and there's my opinion is no more valid than anybody else's.
Well, I think you've done a great job with what you've selected. Again, as I've tried this more and more over the last half hour or so, more of those raisin notes towards the end, a little bit of chocolate creaminess. It's one of those that just really evolves as you sip it. And again, if you're near Louisville, or if you can get near Louisville, there at their distillery is where you want to be Sunday morning. Last time, as Wes said, people camped out the night before. I would imagine, is there a 1 bottle a person limit? Probably.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, so that's a good thing because we want to make sure everybody gets their bottle. So stand in line. Make sure you join Angel's Envy's 500 main club, and we're going to continue to have Wes back on to taste more great new releases. I guess your next release will be your cask strength in the fall.
Yeah, the cask strength will be out as always is before Christmas,
right?
And that's just kind of shaping up now as far as how we still got a couple more months of finishing, but I already like the way it's looking, and we're working. There's as much anticipation for what the box is going to look like as there is what's in the box. It seems, we're working with the team to create a package that's really cool, and we're also introducing some more environmentally friendly measures into the box. The box is a big wood box, so we're looking at some other things there as well that might be fun. So we're look, Tom, it's hard to believe we've been doing this for 10 years. It really is hard to believe we've been talking like this for 10 years. And I go back and think of some of our first discussions, and how we had no idea how our things were going to be received. So, but you've always been a wonderful and gracious person to talk with, and that's why we usually talk first before anybody else.
Well, thanks for that. It means a lot, Wes, to taste this with you first, and to get the chance to taste all of your whiskeys with you always. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing you real soon. You're going to be back on the road probably more and more this year, going some great places. Anything lined up any places you're going, things you're going to be seeing you're looking forward to?
I've already done Chicago and New York. I'm going out west, I think the 3rd week of June, doing Vegas and LA, which I'm excited to, just like everybody else. You know, it's almost like the last year didn't exist. I mean, in a way, you know, when I run into people and I sat down with a good friend the other day for lunch, I'm like, oh my gosh, it has been a year since we've seen each other.
Right.
It doesn't seem like it,
right,
because of everything that's happened in the last year. And I'm sure everybody else feels the same way, but you know, it had been a year since I'd sat down with this guy and had lunch. But fortunately, we just kind of picked up where we left off, and hopefully it'll be that same way when I get out in the marketplace, and we'll just pick up where we left off, you know, and drink some good whiskey, and, you know, sigh that we've made it through one of the craziest years, and hopefully that we'll ever experience. Right.
Well, I completely agree, and I can't wait to get back on the road and do some of our whiskey educational tastings. I see a lot of people that are saying, thank you, Wes, and thanks for all you do, and thanks for all the comments tonight. And if you do get a chance, and if you are one of our fans that loves seeing what we do in person or virtually, you want to do a tasting with us, there's our link below. And Wes, hopefully we'll be tasting some more whiskey with you very soon in person. And thank you for this. This is really so beautiful. I know it's going to be so well received, and it's one of those that is so few bottles. We can say years later, probably somebody's going to hang on to it. But no matter when, whether you find it next week or whether you see it 5 or 6 years from now and you say, I can't believe I've stumbled across one of those rare Madeira bottles from Angel's Envy, they're going to love this. It's so beautiful.
Thanks, Tom. And thanks to everybody that took the time to listen and watch tonight. Much appreciated, and I can't wait to see you out in the real world.
Absolutely, Wes. Good to see you, my friend. Much love, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you.